David Carter was a man of routine, a fortress of habit built upon the ruins of a shattered heart. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the power of small moments to change lives, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to Kindness True Stories. Also tell us in the comments, where in the world are you watching from? Since his wife Sarah had succumbed to cancer 2 years prior, his world had narrowed to 2 relentless corridors, the gleaming, sterile halls of his corporate office at Winters & Copen, and the cozy, memory-filled apartment he shared with his 7-year-old daughter, Lily. By day, he buried himself in spreadsheets and strategy reports, a workaholic seeking solace in the numbing buzz of productivity. By night, he struggled through homework assignments and bedtime stories, his mind often still tangled in quarterly forecasts, missing the light in Lily's eyes when he stumbled over words. His boss, the formidable CEO Eliza Winters, had noticed his frantic pace for months. She'd left subtle hints, a forwarded article on burnout, a suggestion to take the company's unused parental leave, a comment about sharpening the saw during a performance review. But David, armored in grief and a desperate need to provide, misinterpreted them as tests of his dedication. He worked later, sent emails at dawn, and missed Lily's school play, believing financial security was the only legacy he could offer. One rainy Thursday, the dam broke. After a major presentation where David's exhaustion led to a glaring error, Eliza didn't summon him to her office. Instead, she arrived at his apartment door, her sharp suit a contrast to the dim, toy-strewn hallway. When David opened the door, surprised and holding a half-assembled Lego castle, Eliza's voice was steel wrapped in velvet regret. "David, you're fired." The words hung in the air, a guillotine blade. Lily, peeking from behind the sofa, gasped. David's world didn't just turn upside down, it shattered, the pieces reflecting his failure as a provider, a father, a man. But Eliza didn't leave. She stepped inside, closing the door on the damp evening. "Now," she said, her posture softening almost imperceptibly, "we talk." What followed was not a severance negotiation, but an intervention. Eliza, with a startling lack of corporate veneer, laid bare her observations. She spoke of seeing her own past in his hollow eyes. She confessed to losing her younger brother to a long illness, a grief that had once driven her into a similar cycle of self-destruction through work. She hadn't come to end his career. She had come to redirect his life. "You're one of my most valuable minds, David," she said, "but you're burning out, and your daughter is losing her father. This firing is a catalyst, not a conclusion." She presented a radical plan, a 3-month sabbatical fully paid, with guaranteed reinstatement at a flexible senior consultant role afterward. The conditions? He had to attend grief counseling, spend prescribed quality time with Lily, and truly disconnect from work. It was tough love of the highest order, a risk from a CEO who believed in people over profits. Stunned, David could only nod, the weight of his fatigue suddenly crushing him into acceptance. The first weeks of his forced sabbatical were agonizing. David floundered without the structure of work, confronted by the silence of his apartment and the profound grief he'd suppressed. Lily, initially confused, soon blossomed with her father's uninterrupted presence. They baked messy cookies, visited the zoo, and for the first time in years, David truly listened as she talked about her mother, her friends, her dreams. He started counseling, unpacking the guilt of surviving, the fear of failing Lily. Meanwhile, Eliza, against all professional protocol, didn't fully disappear. She began checking in, not as a boss, but as a concerned friend. A text here, a brief call there, sometimes with a book recommendation on grief. Their conversations evolved from awkward updates to deep shared confessions. David learned that Eliza's drive was fueled by a promise to her brother, and that behind her powerful exterior was a woman intimately acquainted with loss. One afternoon, she visited to drop off a project file, a pretext. He realized, and ended up staying for coffee, then helping Lily with a science project. Seeing Eliza, the feared CEO, on her knees, discussing volcano models with his daughter, something shifted in David's heart. As the months passed, David rediscovered himself. He started freelance consulting on a small scale, setting strict boundaries. He was present for Lily's laughter, her tears, her milestones. His relationship with Eliza deepened cautiously. They shared quiet dinners after Lily was asleep, talking about everything from corporate ethics to their favorite memories of the ones they'd lost. It was a slow, gentle unfurling of two souls who had been weathering their storms alone. The turning point came on Lily's birthday. David had organized a party at the park, and Eliza, invited as a friend, came. Watching David, relaxed and fully engaged, laughing as he chased children, Eliza felt a long-held wall within her crumble. Later, as they cleaned up sticky cake plates, she took his hand. "You're healed, David, and you're ready." He looked at her, seeing not just his former boss, but a woman of immense strength and compassion. "I am," he said, "but not just for work." Their first kiss was under the setting sun, a promise whispered between them. David did return to Winters and Coyce, but on his terms, a 3-day work week with remote flexibility. He was more innovative and productive than ever, his creativity fueled by a balanced life. Eliza, inspired by his journey, implemented company-wide wellness reforms, making the corporation famously humane. A year after that fateful firing, David and Eliza stood before their loved ones, Lily beaming between them as they exchanged vows. The firing had been the beginning, not the end. It was the brutal, necessary jolt that forced David to live again, to honor his wife's memory by being fully present, and to open his heart to a second chance. Their story became a quiet legend in the company, a testament to the power of tough love and the unexpected places where healing begins. They had found in each other a mirror for their grief and a shelter for their hope, building a future not by forgetting the past, but by carrying it forward together with kindness. And for David, the man who once missed every hint, he now understood the loudest messages are often spoken in the silent spaces of a shared struggle, and that sometimes being fired from a job is the first step to being hired for a new life. Please show your support for more heartwarming journeys like this by liking, sharing and subscribing to my channel, Kindness True Stories.